Hi, Caleb.
All right. Good afternoon, evening, and good night. That's the show. How is everybody doing tonight?
What's happening?
As you can see, we have our buddy Creole catfishing. And I don't know if he's going to make us relive that horror story of kicking our rear ends a couple weeks ago or not. But then we have Mr. James Dockery fishing. Hello, Mr. James. And you have
Evening.
your one and only the Chad, who absolutely, positively won the debate last week. Oh,
The chicken won
I'm
the
just throwing that
debate,
out there.
dude.
Chicken won.
The chicken won the
The
debate.
chicken won.
I never heard the chicken once say anything.
Listen.
Didn't have
So,
to.
Okay,
Didn't have
the
to.
chicken, I brought the chicken in. All right, the chicken is on my team. So technically, that makes me the winner.
so let's say hello to Katie Collins, JP3, Norm from Catfish Headhunters, Maurice, Mark from Catfishing Crappie, Fin Seeker TV. Hello. I'm having trouble here. LG Bass, Laura DeFore.
Jay-
Okay. My
Did
wife
you
is
unmute
watching-
yourself?
Yeah, my wife.
What? No, I didn't unmute me.
Creole, you were saying?
Yeah. My wife apparently is watching this in the next room. I didn't even know.
Very nice. Well, hello to her. Half Crazy, J-Dog, Squirrel, Catfish and Pappy, Mo Creek Fishing, Bumpin' Monster Mike. Let's see. JP3, I don't know if I said your name or not, but hello. Mike Irvin. There were some other people up here that I saw. Ace Cat Fishing, John Patrick Jr., Avid. I don't know if I can scroll up far enough because I know there was somebody else. That's as far as I can go. All right. I think I seen Catfish Weekly was up there, and there was a couple other ones.
Okay, we're gonna have to take up a GoFundMe or something because we're gonna have to get Maurice Cason on one of these shows because we all owe Maurice Cason a little bit. I mean, that between him and Elstan this week, man, I'm telling you, man, they have been giving it to me left and right, and I don't know what I did, but we're gonna get even one of these days.
I know. You breathed.
Yeah, I know.
Anyway, one ton welcome. All right, so we thought it would be in the fun of Halloween being this week. I thought it would be fun to just talk about some scary, fishing stories that we might have had. We might have some other folks joining us here in a little bit. Haven't heard back, but we'll let you know. But we really wanted to spend the night just talking about things that would have happened to us while we were fishing that was either scary or made us uneasy or something like that. So, Creole, you said you wanted to be a part of this. So, what's your? Let's kick it off.
I've got 100 different stories of things going wrong, but the one that definitely sticks in my mind the most is now. It's been about a year ago. It was last year. We were getting my oldest son Gabriel and I were really, really getting heavy into the trophy catfishing. We were going, venturing out places on the river that we had never been before. And at the time, I didn't have my own boat. I was borrowing my father-in-law's little tracker, little 1754 tracker. Well, we decided one morning that we're going to go fish one of the oxbow lakes off of the Mississippi, kind of nearby to where we live. We got out there. I looked on Navionics, did my research. We fished and fished and fished, couldn't come up with a thing. And I kept looking on Google Maps on my phone, and I kept looking. I said, man, Gabe, look, the Mississippi River's right there. We just got to go up this little bayou. It's about 3 miles. Why don't we go in the Mississippi, see if we can't go catch us a big fish off that big point? And him, he's He is my ride or die. It don't matter what I tell him, he's down. He's like, yeah, Dad, come on, let's go. So we truck up that little bayou. Now, I had been in Mississippi before this time, but always when the water was low, current was slow, it's a little more manageable. Because the Mississippi is a monster down here in Louisiana. It is extremely wide. They got some spots down here, it's a mile wide. You know, it is a monster down here. So we truck it up this bayou, and when I come out of the bayou into the Mississippi, it was like seeing the river like I had never seen it before. It was up, it was swollen, the current was ripping through there. The second the boat hit the current, it pushed me about 200 feet down the river. I was like, oh, what have I got us into here? So anyway, the hard-headed person that I am, we hadn't caught a fish yet. We fought up the river about a quarter mile, anchored off this point, sat there for 30, 45 minutes with the rods out, didn't catch a thing. So I decided, look, you know what? This current is ripping through here. There's barges passing everywhere. We don't need to be in here. We need to get out of here. That's where things started going wrong. The first thing I did, I told Gabe, I said, look, crank the motor up. I said, start pushing towards the anchor rope. Give me some slack so I can get it out of the cleat and we can start trying to get this anchor up. Well, I'm not sure what happened. To this day, I don't know what happened. But, you know, on those tracker boats, your anchor cleat is kind of down in the front of that deck a little bit where the rope passes over the nose of the boat. I grabbed that rope with my hand right over the top of that deck. And right at that moment, I don't know if the motor killed or he accidentally put it in neutral. But the current was moving so fast, it pulled the boat back and it literally crushed my hand against the top of the deck of the boat. And I couldn't get it out.
Oh, wow.
So my hand is stuck to the top of the deck of the boat. And I'm trying not to panic. So to alarm him, he's behind me. So I've got my left hand trying to pull that rope, and I finally get my hand out. And then the rope slams back down again. Then right at that moment, this log is coming down the river, and it hits the anchor rope. And naturally, the anchor's stuck at this point. It's stuck in that old matted revetment. There was that log hit the anchor rope and the boat starts lurching over and the nose starts going towards the water. And I'm telling you,
oh, shoot.
Pull up to try to get some slack in the rope. And luckily right behind me was my bait knife. And thankfully I was quick enough. By the time I grabbed that knife and reached up and cut that anchor rope, the nose of the boat was even with the water. The nose of the boat was fixing to go under the water. I hurried up and I just cut the rope.
Wow.
And we just took off with the current. But that right, and once the boat was free, I just kind of sat there on the front deck, just like this. You know,
no, man, no doubt.
And I don't want to turn around. I'm facing the front of the boat, and Gabe is behind me back here. He's like, Dad, you all right? Dad, you all right? I'm just like this in the front of the boat, you know? And right there at that moment, I said, okay, we don't have our stuff together enough. We don't have what we need to be in this river when it's like this. And that was one of my first steps of deciding that one of these days we gonna need a bigger boat. We're gonna need the right rigging. We gonna have to do this right.
Yeah,
we went in there.
Doubt.
We went in there not ready for what was out there. You know, I'm used to fishing it when the water's low. You know, just certain times a year. I'll fish in the Red River close to the house. The current's not as bad, but that Mississippi is a whole different animal, especially down here. And if you don't respect it, it will get you very, very quick. And that was a close one for us.
See, that's the same way with the Missouri. The Missouri River is that way. It actually flows faster than the Mississippi River. Mm-hmm. And they've got these hidden wing dikes down there, and
Yep.
there's not a lot of barge traffic anymore, thank God, and stuff like that. But there's still barges that are tied up.
Yeah.
Down there, it gets foggy in the mornings. You can't see anything, and you have any type of motor issue. That's not where you want to be.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. The one thing that and like I said, since then I've upgraded a lot. I've got my own boat. It's a much bigger boat. I've got it rigged the way I want. But the number one thing that I trust when out on those rivers, my Lowrance unit has the charts and everything on it, the navigational charts. And I can get in the barge lanes and I can run those barge lanes wide open. And I know there's no wing dikes, no obstructions. I know where my path is that I need to run. Only thing I have to look out for is basically
a barge,
trees. A barge you can see coming from a long way. The dangerous part about the river where we're at is trees. You can have an entire tree rolling sideways down that river. And if you're not watching good enough, you're not going to see it.
I was going to say, up through here, we get the same thing. And you might see, maybe that tree sticking up about this far out of the water.
Yep.
And you get up there, and that's, a 4-foot round tree that is going down that river. That hits you. It's not stopping. It's going to go through you. If you're anchored up, that's, you better have you a really good knife up there front to cut that anchor line.
As far as obstructions and trees and all that go, and that's the main river that I fish is the Atchafalaya River, which comes off of the locking dams off of the Mississippi and goes straight to the Gulf. And that river is actually deeper and faster on average than the Mississippi is. And the same thing, it's nothing to look out in the front of the boat and you see something, come up in the water and then go back down. Then a minute later, you'll see that's the root ball of an entire tree that's coming at you.
Yep.
It's rolling under that current, and all you see is the root doing this.
Yep. And before we get going, Chad, you look like a boy band reject. Dude, you got to lose that, whatever that is, man.
I was letting Jeremy finish his story because I saw some more people in chat and I wanted to say hello to people like Setting Hooks and Crossing Eyes. We got Stan Smith. We had Tirador Arcor. I seen Chunky Cat's fishing, which this was my honor to Chunky. I made a comment in his feed the other day, and I actually made a picture and I sent it to him, talking about him with M&M hair. Said this is my, I'm not as baby faced as him, but this is Chunky with a beard, and that's what I dressed up as tonight with his M&M wig. So you are right, though.
Hey. You need to put that thing back in the road where you ran it over. Just
that's not much better right there, Chad.
Ran it over, go put it back.
Oh, we got Bobby Newton. What's going on? So yeah, you know what you was just talking about though, Creole. You're freaking bringing back memories to me too, right? Is the Ohio River is one of the main sources for the Mississippi, and we get rolling around here, right?
Mm-hmm.
Early springtime is like just floods. We go from normal stage in the Cincinnati area is like 25 feet, and we'll get upwards to 40 to 50 feet in that area. So you're talking about 20, 25 feet above normal summer stage.
Yeah, that's right.
But what you were just talking about, a buddy of mine, he may be in here sometime. I'm not sure he watches the show. His name's Bill. But he had an old, them old tri-hole boats, boats that kind of have through the tri.
Mm-hmm.
He had one of those, and we decided we didn't realize what we were doing, but we went out there, and the water up here was flowing so hard that we had literally 4 and 5 foot rollers on the Ohio River. I mean, it looked like barges were playing with like hydraulics. It was so bad. We went out and we was trying to fish. And we went by this creek, and these two young little girls, they couldn't have been maybe 14, 15, 16 tops, come flying out of this creek on Sea-Doos. And we're like, oh my God, I don't even feel safe in this boat, let alone what they're doing.
Yeah.
So we went up and we tried to anchor. We might have been there 45 minutes to an hour tops. And we was like, we couldn't hold anchor. We were doing circles. We were rocking so much we couldn't fish. So we were like, let's just go back. So we started the boat back up and we started heading back down river to go back to where we launched. And when we did, we got about halfway there, and all we see is this Sea-Doo going like this up and down the like going down river. And I'm like, where's the little girl that was on it? And in the middle of this river, and now that I have depth finders and I'm out there all the time, in the summertime at Summer Pool, that area is probably one of the deepest parts of the Ohio River through my area, and it's about 50 to 60 feet. Summer Pool.
Yeah.
So you could imagine it was 70 or 80 feet at
Oh
that
yeah,
time.
exactly. Yeah.
And all we see is this little head popping up and down out of the water. Still trying to figure out where the other girl was. And we get over there, obviously with that kind of current and those kind of waves, you can't just, we didn't have trolling motors. We didn't have anything like that.
Yeah.
We had to get over there close and then try to get over there by her and throw a rope to pull her in, which thankfully, we were able to get there. We got over there by her. He shut the boat off, and I grabbed her hand and I pulled her up in the boat. And where's your friend? Where's your friend? I'm sitting here thinking we saved one. Now, where's the other one?
Yeah, where's the other one?
The other one had gotten all the way over to the bank. And I guess tied the Sea-Doo off to a tree or so there and climbed up to the road. So my buddy, we're sitting there looking around. We finally spot this girl. Buddy goes to go start the boat, and the boat won't start. In the middle of this, the boat is just flying down to the river at this point. You're starting to spin and all that kind of stuff.
Oh yeah, the current's just taking you.
Yeah, he can't figure out what's going on. We end up, the only thing we could do, because if we didn't, we would have been past our mark, and you can't go back up without a motor, right?
Yeah.
So we grab paddles and we get over to the bank, and the girl had walked down, and we let the girl out, the other girl that we picked up in the river. And then, we kind of tied off, and we're sitting here, and he's messing with the motor, and we couldn't get it. Are you waving to me?
No, I'm dealing with Katie.
You ain't. She's dealing with you. So we could not get this boat to start to save our lives. Nothing like, one of the strongest currents you ever see in that part of the river, and that choppy water, and you're like, how are we getting home? So we ended up having to push the boat off the thing, and then literally we looked like we were whitewater rapids going down on that trifold boat, trying to keep ourselves straight and make that turn into the creek, because the way the river comes, there's a big curve, and then it's straight, and then right as it gets to the creek that we were in, it kind of starts a little bit of a curve too. So we were like, we can't miss it. But just that much wake and that much current and no power. We ended up, he had sucked when we got over there with that girl, we just happened to suck something up into the motor, is why it wouldn't start down in the bottom of it. But that to me is, especially when you've not been out on a boat very often, is scary as can be. You're talking about the logs. We get 20 and 30 foot trees coming down during that time of the year, 40-foot trees, the whole tree, like you said, floating down the river. It's dangerous.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and that's the thing, and you have to be ready for things like that. That's why now I'm so thankful now that when I bought my boat, I got the Minn Kota Tarova that has the spot lock on it, and I don't throw an anchor much anymore. I don't, because having that anchor rope out there, that it's dangerous. It's very dangerous. At least with that spot lock, if something happens, the worst that's going to happen is just going to hit my trolling motor, and I don't have to worry about it sinking my boat at least.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, that's
Say there's been times on that Mississippi River, especially at night, and it's a boat. I mean, it's temperamental. It'll sometimes start. And the worst one for us was we had tucked in behind some of these islands, and the wind kicked up and started blowing. I mean, probably 20, 25 miles an hour with gusts of about 40, and it was going straight south. I mean, it was coming straight from the south. And when that hits that current, I mean, it starts making waves. And next thing you know, you've got 4-foot rollers on the Mississippi River at night, and it's hard enough to see, because there's not really any landmarks that you could noticeably see, in some of these areas that we fish. So you're trying to get, where you're going, slow because, of the trees, the rocks, buoys, that kind of stuff. And on top of that, you got those stupid Asian carp that are just jumping.
Yep. That's a whole other ordeal.
Oh yeah. And so that Mississippi River, it takes a lot of respect. I mean, every year you hear of people that have been on that river for, 30, 40, 50 years. And they go out one morning to, fish or, do something, and that's it. They're gone.
Yeah, and we hear about it every year, that some people wear their life jackets when they're in a boat, some people don't. And I'll be honest, even with the life jacket on, there ain't no guarantee that you're going to survive it anyway. There's not. There's been many people that they've picked up, 40 miles downriver from where they fell out that boat.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Still couldn't do nothing. Still couldn't do anything. It takes respect. Like you said, that says it all. You got to respect that river. You've got to be on your toes at all times. That's why I have not ever, and I will not ever go out on that river by myself in my boat.
No.
I will not do it.
And there's even days, there's certain times of the year that we won't go near that river. And major holidays, 4th of July, Memorial Weekend, all that stuff. There are just so many people that get out there that don't respect that river. And they think that, they're in mom and dad's boat and they're flying up and down, going to party coves and stuff like that. And, it always ends tragic, every year.
See, that's the one thing that I can say between the Atchafalaya and the Mississippi, you don't get hardly any recreational traffic on those rivers. Now, we're lucky because what we've got, we call it the mud hole. But what it is, it's a big navigation channel when the barges lock through out of the Mississippi to get into the Red or the Atchafalaya. They got to pass down this long, wide channel. And that actually used to be the Mississippi River, 200 years ago before they cut it off. And that area, there's no current in it. It's all slack water. That's where all the recreational boaters go. All the local people here, the recreational boaters, luckily, most of them are not stupid enough to get out on that river in those boats and go skiing and stuff. Everybody knows how dangerous that river is. The only thing we'll get is some of these bass guys that want to fly down that river 70 miles an hour in those brand new bass boats. And I'm thinking, okay, you keep doing that. You go
the fiberglass ones. Especially them little fiberglass ones, man, that it's going to get eaten up, But one of the most deadliest lakes here in Missouri is Lake of the Ozarks.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, every year there's, at least a dozen people that always seem like they just take that, any body of water for granted.
Yep. It will eat you up and spit you out if you ain't careful. Look, the morning of the tournament, I knew that a certain section of that river where that outflow is, I know that it gets shallow right there. And I know that there's a big sandbar right there. The problem is I didn't realize how much the river had dropped. We're barreling down trying to get to the spot 40 miles an hour. And I look way out in front of me. I'm like, look that stump coming out of the outflow. I wonder how that got through the hydroelectric plant. Well, I start looking at it. I'm like, It's not moving. Why is that stump not moving? It's current right here. Then I look good. The current's going around it. Like, wait, what? Then I realize, oh, yeah, that's. Then I hurry up and I back the throttle off. Right when I back the throttle off, I can hear my boat skidding in the silt. I hurry up and I pick my motor up, and we go the rest of the way through. It was 18 to 20 inches of water over the top. And that was part of the reason why it took us so long to get to the spot. Luckily, I saw that old stump out there, and I realized just in time, oh, wait, this is shallow water. I hurried up and I backed off and I picked my motor up so it wouldn't drag.
Jeez. Yeah, like that. And well, that's just it, though. I mean, that river's always changing. Even up here.
Yeah. Yeah, that's why they don't. That's why the Navionics app doesn't do me any good down here.
Yep.
It doesn't show anything.
Yeah.
I have on my Lowrance, I have that Genesis Live mapping. I can go through and actually map an area myself and do all the contours. But even still, stuff that I mapped 6 months ago, it's different now.
Yep.
Yeah, it changes all the time. I mean, you still got to respect the water, no matter how well you think you know it, especially the rivers, because they change constantly.
Oh, yeah.
Seen Mr. Realistic was in the house. Sean T, Chesapeake, Rex. A few more folks came in, I seen. Terry Lane.
That chunky guy's in here.
That chunky guy.
He's my favorite of you two. Between Chunky and Dockery, I would always vote Chunky.
Well, of course you would. Suck up.
I have his sticker on the windshield on the console of my boat. I even rubbed the top of his head on that sticker this morning. It still didn't do me any good.
He pulled all that luck away from you.
I'll have you know that he did a write-in vote.
Did he?
Yeah, he did a write-in vote. So I'm sure he probably would have voted for the chicken, but since I'm taking the write-in vote for him, I'm giving it to myself. That puts me ahead of you, 15-13. And if you're watching, I would like to wish Mr. Jim Catman Clark a happy birthday today.
Hey.
He is enjoying dinner this evening. He switched his vote thanks to a conversation that I had with him earlier where I sang him happy birthday as well. So that was a swing vote, a little last-minute politicking from me.
Oh, wait.
But
yeah, can change your vote?
No, you cannot.
You can change your vote. Yes, in this you can.
I'm going back and change mine.
See, there you go. You just lost another vote.
For the chicken. So you
guys are killing me.
Said that out loud.
You can vote for both of us. As long as I keep your vote, we're good.
Chicken.
So we will get back to this here in the next few minutes. If everybody's seen on the thumbnail for this, for the description, there will be the rod giveaway this week. Ace Catfishing will come in, and he was wanting to give away a rod here shortly. So we'll bring him in here in a little bit. We also have one or two more guests that'll come in as well. But just want to let everybody know where we are at with that. Hey, Lynn Leeper, Brian Outdoors, Tim Molina. Welcome, everybody. Mo Homesteading. So, oh, man. I love it when James Dockery puts this costume on. It is the best costume he's ever worn.
The one that looks like he's not there?
Exactly. That's his ghost. Michael Murillo. There's a lot of Mikes that watch our shows. By the way.
Always.
Oh, there he is back. Anyway, so yeah, talking more about like some of these scary stories that we got going on that we've had with fishing. One of the, I think, most petrifying moments that I have ever had, I've probably mentioned it before, was last year. The Rising Sun tournament that I did. It was the first tournament that I had ever entered. And we camped out about 2 miles north of where the Rising Sun tournament launch was. Day one, it was, we got up, I think we launched out of the campsite probably about 5:30, 6 o'clock. Took us 20 minutes to get down to the check-in. We were there early, no issues at all. We didn't, and at the time, I didn't even have lights on my boat other than my, standard red and green and my stern light and stuff. And I had a little handheld spotlight. That's how we got down there. We just followed the bank. Day 2 of the tournament, the temperature dropped, and there was so much fog when we launched. We were actually we were trying to get ahead of the guys that were camping next to us. They were gonna go down too, and they said we could just follow them. Well, I went ahead and launched the boat, and I'm like, oh, I've got my GPS or my depth finder that's got the GPS thing on it.
Yeah.
So we launch, and I didn't know, and if you have never really used a depth finder that has the charts on it, there is a setting on it that always has it facing one way, north. So if you don't know to change this setting, it always makes you look like you're going straight ahead, when you're really not. It makes the boat look like it's going that one way. It was so foggy. I backed the boat out and I turned the boat left, and I'm going to follow, that bank line just like I did the morning before. It was so foggy I couldn't see the front of my boat. When you turn the spotlight on, it got worse.
Just like a white.
So I'm like, we're going to just follow this bank really slow. We're going to watch this depth finder. We're going to go down through here. The next thing I knew, I'm like, are we getting that far away from the bank? My boat had turned around and I went upriver about 3/4 of a mile. So the only reason I knew it is because somehow I had turned around and the bank, the bank was on the other side, and I'm going, so I have no idea what's going on right now. I actually ended up having to pull my phone out and figured out where we were. So I come back down, and as we were passing where we launched from, Mark Blauvelt, and then we're launching his boat, and he says, you guys can just follow us. Well, Mark had lights. Mark's boat's a little bit faster than mine, and he was a little bit more courageous than we were.
Yeah.
About, I would say, probably 3/4 to a mile, we almost all smacked into a barge that was literally sitting on the side of the river, just parked, because they weren't moving either. Luckily, they spotlighted us about 50 to 100 yards behind them. They spotlighted us and gave us a channel through. We got past them, and Mark kind of started speeding up, because at this point, like I said the morning before, it took us 20-25 minutes to get there. We left 2 hours before we had to check in. Okay?
Wow.
Because we knew it was going to take a minute to get there, and we wanted to make sure because of the fog. Mark, it was starting to get so close that Mark and them started giving a little bit more gas, and we were following his tail light. It's the only thing we could. That's the only thing that we could see in front of us. And I was just nervous, and I started. I'd gas it up a little bit, and then I was like, I can't see. I don't know what I'm getting ready. If I'm really following him or not. All of a sudden, his lights just disappeared, and I'm like, where did he go? The next thing I knew, my buddy Ed's, he's up there with the spotlight, just trying to figure out where it was, and we weren't going that fast. But what happened was, Mark had turned and went around the bend in the curve. I kept going straight, and all of a sudden, the first time that the fog had any kind of break in it, I was about 15 feet from the going nose into the bank, where all it was logs lining up the side of the bank. So I kill it all the way down. I whipped the boat to the right, and at that point it was so too late that my boat went sideways and hit one of them logs, and I went up on the log, and I'm sitting there, and I'm just like, freaking out. Like, I don't know what just happened. I don't know what, put a hole in the boat, anything like that. We finally got the boat off of it, but I was so, frantic with what was going on because I was already, clinching the whole way down through there. I didn't put the boat back up in the neutral. So I've got it all the way down. Because it pulled the kill switch out. I put the kill switch back in, turned the boat off, and it won't start. I'm sitting there going, oh my God, I broke my brand new boat. I've only had this boat like 3 months. Sat there for a half an hour, and I'm texting my buddy Billy, and he's like, you're gonna make it? You gonna make it? And I'm like, dude, I'm sitting on a log right now, and we can't get the boat to start. He's like, and I'm sitting back there. He's telling me what to check. He's like, wait a minute. He's like, is your boat in neutral? And I went, yeah, it's in neutral. It's in neutral. Hey, I just got the boat started.
Yeah, play that one off.
But I mean, we were literally a half mile away. Once we got around a corner, is all the farthest we had to go. We ended up being 15 minutes late to the check-in, and we got disqualified.
Wow, because of all
over
that.
2 hours to go 2 miles. It was that's how foggy it was. My buddy, the one I'm talking about, he actually launched directly. So here's Rising Sun. He launched directly across from it from a friend of his house, and went straight across. And he got in the middle, and it was just he was doing circles. He couldn't figure out where he was in the middle of the river.
It's a bad feeling when you're just lost in the middle of that river and you can't tell where you are. I've done that a few times. That's not a good feeling.
Especially when you have you don't know where the barges are. Exactly. All you can see is them little blue lights that they have at night. Unless they see you, and they spotlight you. They're silent assassins.
And Mike Green,
man.
Mike Greenwell, was talking about never get too comfortable on the river. Was drifting through Lock Wall at Newburgh Dam, and seen a small green one. Saw small green barge come through there, and he never even saw that bigger one. And that's just it. I mean, you get out there on the river, some of these guys, they know that river. I mean, even the guys that do, those barges, I mean, they'll sneak up on you in a heartbeat.
Yeah, because you can't, especially when it's coming towards you, you won't hear it coming. You won't. It'll be maybe 100 feet from you when you can see it. And actually hear it in the, hear that barge cutting through the water. Because I know the barges they push past us, they're usually, 3 wide, 3 long. That barge is a long, long way from you, that tug. You can't hear that motor running.
Yep.
I wasn't expecting to come.
It's like, I think it was last week when I seen that pretty beautiful birthday face. I had to get you in here. But like Fin Seeker TV, he was just fishing with Chris Souter and Harley Neal. And he was saying that they went on their way back. This quick fog came in, and they were literally like 5 feet from this barge that they didn't even know was coming.
Yeah.
That is scary, man.
Yeah.
It is. Well, fellas, look, if y'all don't mind, I've had a lot of fun tonight talking with y'all. I got to drop out, return a few phone calls. I'll catch y'all later, guys.
I didn't mean to scare you off.
All right.
Real, before you go, I just want to kind of give you a heads up. Yeah. I don't think your wife knew the full story that you first told. So you just might kind of give us an update throughout the night to let us all know you're safe.
Yeah, that's why whenever y'all called out her name that she was in chat, a little cold chill kind of ran down my spine. I said,
hair on the back of your neck stood up a little bit. All right, well, I'm just giving you a heads up.
My son that was in the boat with me does not realize how bad it actually was. I'll tell you that now. He don't know.
I'm gonna have to go back and listen to this.
Yeah, I'll give y'all an update later and let y'all know how that goes. You know what I mean?
Appreciate it, bud.
All right, man.
Yeah.
See ya.
Stay safe, brother.
See you, Krill.
Jim the Catman Clark. Happy birthday, buddy.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Happy birthday, old man.
Thank you. I thought you were older than me. You're a year younger than me.
Yes, I am.
Damn.
Yeah.
I thought you were like almost twins with Lyle or something.
Oh hell no, dude. That dude's like crusty old. I mean, yeah. So
now don't pick on him. Lyle's not here to defend himself.
Cindy moving to an old folks home.
Yeah, Lyle's not here to defend himself, so you guys got to be nice. So, Mr. Catman Clark, I would say you have something scary to talk about. I mean, I know everybody knows a little bit, or at least most of our viewers probably know. But what is the scariest moment you've had?
Scariest moment I had.
I mean, this is also lines up with the most stubborn-headedness you've ever had, but go ahead.
It's probably the first time I seen James Dockery go live on YouTube while I was fishing.
that is scary.
Oh, hands down.
Yeah. No, it was July 12th, 2018. Buddy of mine had his boat and everything worked on. He said, take it out and see how it does. You know, go out and catch some fish. So I took his boat out. I get out there, and it's got the manual where you have to lift the motor up, take the transom saver off. So I'm fighting with that. It's already July 12th, so it's 112 degrees outside, laying on asphalt. So I'm sweating my butt off. Finally get that done, get it loaded into the truck, get it over to the dock, tie it off. And then I remember I didn't put any of my fishing gear in there. So I had to walk all the way back down, got all my fishing gear, packed it all the way back to the boat. And we got a little spot called the Brickyard where there's a water intake that shoots out into the river. I thought, well, I'm going to try here, and I'm just going to pull up on the bank so I can get next to these barges and walk over there. Well, I jump off. I'm in knee-deep mud. So I'm fighting it, trying to get back up on the boat, finally get up in the boat. And about this time, I'm dying anyway because it's so hot, fighting to get out of knee-deep mud.
Yeah.
Get in the boat, going down the island, pull off, cast everything out, start talking, doing my live feed. And all of a sudden, damn, it's indigestion, just worst I've ever had. So I did a live feed for probably about 20 minutes with this pain. And I finally just looked at the camera and said, something's wrong, I've got to go. I shut it off. And on my way back to the boat ramp, I called 911, have an ambulance there waiting on me. Finally get there, I get out of the boat myself, walking fine, get on the ambulance gurney. They roll me up there and put me in the back of the truck. By this time, Mom and everybody's there. And, you know, I told her, I said, I love you. And I had her call the guy that I had the boat, tell him what was going on. Called my girlfriend, told her and the kids I loved them. And my buddy Jed, which for y'all that don't know it, I was a police officer for 10 years. Then a medic since 1990. I've been a medic. And I've passed RN school too, so all I got to do is get my license for the RN. But I'm in the back of the truck with him. He puts the EKG leads on. And I said, what's it look like? Because I couldn't see the monitor. He said, well, there's something there, but he said, I don't think it's too bad. He said, well, go ahead and get you some nitro and aspirin. I said, all right. While he's up there getting the medicine out of the med box, I reach over and I push that monitor over so I can look at it. Where your heartbeat's supposed to be up at points, you know, kind of like this. Mine were tombstones. They were rounded off at the top. I looked at that and I looked at Jed and I said, buddy, I said, we need to go now. They hit lights and sirens. I got to the hospital. Doctor looked at the EKG. He says, you're having a heart attack. I said, no shit, doc. I sat there and Mom was standing there. They were wheeling me to the cath lab. And I don't remember that. I remember everything except this. She says, I looked at Mom and I said, I love you, but I'm going to die. I don't remember saying that to her. I remember getting to the cath lab. My buddy Wes, that was a nurse in the cath lab, told me he's going to give me some Plavix. I said, okay. And I flatlined right then. And I was flatlined for 45 minutes. They did CPR. Broke every rib that I've got around my sternum. And they shocked me 16 times. 3 days in a coma. I woke up. They pulled the intubation tube out. And the doctor asked me, he said, "How you feel?" I said, "Well, I'm hungry. I want a cheeseburger." He said, "You ain't getting no cheeseburger right now." And after that,
Jeez, Pete's.
Yeah. They said my heart was healthy as a horse. No damage whatsoever.
Really?
And I had the Widowmaker, which less than 1% survived.
That's insane. My brother had a Widowmaker heart attack. I mean, but I mean, I can't even imagine being out there like that, going, doing what all you had to get to do, and then you go out and you start fishing and you go live, and then something like that happen. Now, to be fair, did James Dockery come into your feed? I'm just trying to put out that that if you want to change your vote right now, this is the kind of guy James Dockery is. But
I honestly think he was in that feed that day.
I was in that feed, and he was saying that his chest was hurting and all that, and I was telling him, "You need to get to the hospital." I'm like, "Get that stuff put up, Jim," because I had just had a heart attack not that long before him, and it was like, "You got to go." That's so.
My phone's
I know.
I'm cold. I'm too cheap to turn the heat up.
I remember when I was talking to Jim a couple months ago, when I first found out that it had happened, and then he had a video, he was recording and stuff. He's like, "Yeah, go check it out." And I went out and checked out this video, and I'm sitting here watching it like I'm yelling at him, and it happened years ago. I'm like, "Jim, turn off this damn feed and go to the hospital."
Is that still your most watched video, Jim?
Yes, it is. Yep. I tell you what, after that experience,
Mr.
I have no fear of dying.
Go ahead.
I said after doing that,
I imagine.
I'm not scared to die anymore. I know what's on the other side. The only thing scares me is leaving K-Bug and Addie behind.
Yep.
Yep.
For the world that we got to live in today.
That is true. Look at Mr. Stokes just sitting there going, "I can't remember why I'm here."
Well, I never expected the birthday boy to jump on me like that. I know Jim for a long time. He's always been really nice, but he's hung around with those Dockery so damn long that he's starting to pick up his bad habits.
That's right.
Hey, listen, Law, now hold on, okay? And don't say no until you hear me out, all right? I got a marketing ploy.
No.
Hold on, I got a marketing ploy for you, all right? Now, you're wanting to start making these ice rods, okay? Now, what I'm thinking is you candy stripe them like they do them candy canes, and you call them Krampus canes.
Well,
they sell themselves right there.
Well,
I'm telling you.
They might. I'm still trying to get over the most scary thing I've seen today is when I turned this show on a while ago and Chadwick Field sitting there in drag.
You should have seen him before the show started.
No, thank you.
He had the sundress on and all.
Oh, wow.
They maybe put this hoodie on.
Well, that yellow hair, I thought Dee might have kicked him out and locked him out, but evidently not.
She said I had to start working for. She said I had to start working for my own fishing money.
So you go direct to drag.
Yeah, that boy ain't ever going to have any fishing money if he's got to work for his own money.
I got a feeling that ain't going to score you no brownie points with nobody I know.
Looks like Ozark Trail and Shakespeare it is, son.
That's exactly right.
I was talking to Chad before the show started. I called him up, told him I didn't know if I'd be able to make it in or not. And when he answered, I said, "What are you doing there, my little redheaded stepchild?" And we were sitting there talking, and he's just like stopped all of a sudden. He said, "Did you just call me a redheaded stepchild?" I said, "Yep."
We got somebody else waiting here. Let's bring this little lady in.
That is kind of funny. Betty Jean. Well, I'm not
Miss
sure
Betty?
if you guys are wanting to know about scary situations because, man, I got a list of them.
Heck yeah.
You know, the first one that comes to my mind is my son and I was fishing the record flooding for Truman and Lake Ozarks. It was about, 20 years ago. And Tony had just went through his basic training for the military, and the water was high, and the Osage River was ripping, and we was on the outside bend, and the anchor hung in a rock, and we caught fish and caught fish and caught fish, and we caught so many it was time to go find another place because we got tired of throwing them back. And he went to pull the rope up, and the anchor was hung, and he couldn't get it pulled up. And in those days, I had a 20-foot John boat with a 40-horse motor on it. And I could pull up to the current, but he couldn't get it pulled up, and it slipped out of his hands, and it was still tied on the cleat and started taking the front of the boat down. And I told him to cut the rope, and he wouldn't cut the rope. He was going to get that anchor up regardless. So I went up there and cut the rope, and we spun around in circles a few times before I got a handle on it and went on to our next spot. But one thing, you got to have a sharp knife in the front of the boat and the back of the boat. And when somebody tells you to cut the rope, don't argue with them. Just cut the rope and go on. You're lots better off.
Yep.
Another time,
that's true.
Another time, Cindy and I was in a tournament. It was a night tournament. It was the last night tournament we ever fished, and we was on strange water on the Missouri River, and we hit a log going up the river, and it knocked the transducers up on the boat. So we had no depth, no nothing. Only thing we had was GPS, and I was trying to straighten that out and push them down off the back of the boat, which I couldn't reach them. So I was using oars and different things, and we got up against a wing dike. And there we stood with a 23-foot boat with water pushing you against this wing dike and trying to get off. I broke one paddle and finally got us to where I could start the motor and get us away from the wing dike probably an hour after that. And by then, we're so disoriented. If it hadn't been for the GPS on that depth finder, of course, it was on a Lowrance, and it kept going on, and then you had to shut it off, wait for it to come back up, and you're trying to stay out of them wing dikes because you really don't know exactly where you're at. It's so dark. And that's when I said I'll never own another Lowrance because we had sent it in, and the problem was with the unit. It wasn't with the wiring, but it wouldn't stay on. It'd go off, and maybe it'd come back on, maybe it wouldn't, and maybe it'd come right back on, and maybe it'd be an hour before it'd come on. So you couldn't depend on it at all. And we'd sent it in a couple of times, and they said there wasn't nothing wrong with it, but the wiring had all been checked and soldered, and there was nothing wrong with the wiring. But it was just one of those things with that particular unit that it wouldn't stay on. And we finally got it to go on, and we just went to a place and anchored up and stayed there all night. Didn't catch any fish, but you couldn't find your way to go anywhere. It was so bad. And at that point there, I told her, unless we was really, really, really familiar with the water or the area, there'd be no more night tournaments for us unless we went with somebody that really did know those areas, because that was a pretty dangerous situation. And another one that really blowed my mind was we launched out of a tournament on the Mississippi River, and there was 30 or 40 boats in it. And it was crystal clear, beautiful bluebird skies, and we all get about 5 miles up the river, and there's about 10 of us running in a sort of a pack. And we run into a fog bank. And my brother was pretty much beside me, but on the Illinois side of the river, I could see him, and we was waving. Mark had grown up being on that river, so he was very familiar with it. And we hit this fog bank, and everybody just shut down, and you're idling. And I could hear Doug Rice and Dalton Brown talking. I could hear Mark and my nephew talking. I could hear 4 or 5 other boats. And I told Cindy, I said, I'm going right over here to the Missouri bank. I'm going to throw an anchor out, and we're waiting until this fog lifts. If we catch some fish, fine. If we don't, we're just going to stay there until we can see what the hell we're – because these people are close enough that they're not talking loud at all. You can hear every word they're saying. So we throw the anchor out, and I heard old Doug say, well, somebody just throwed an anchor out. it was that close. All these boats was. And Mark was over by the Illinois bank, and when the fog lifted, he was up Salt River probably a mile. He don't know how he got back across the Mississippi and up Salt River, and that's the river that makes Mark Twain Lake. And he grew up on that. It got away from him. And pretty soon we didn't hear no more boats. They all went on up to where they was at, and about an hour or so later, the fog lifted. We caught a couple of fish. We pulled the anchor up, went up to where we was going to fish, and nobody was in our spot, so we fished there the rest of the day. And this was probably 20 or more years ago when that happened. And in those days, we had a John boat with a 150 on it, and it would outrun most of them, but it didn't do you a damn bit of good to have a fast boat that day because you couldn't see. And had that fog had been in the town where that tournament was let out, nobody would have released that tournament until it lifted because it was so bad. But it was crystal clear, and we didn't go 5 miles. It wasn't 5 miles, probably more like 2 or 3, and you couldn't see the front of the boat. It was the damnedest thing you ever seen. And those things happen, and people need to be prepared for them. Yeah. Another one that gets in my mind, and I go back to the shoulder surgery. When I first had it, I'd sat so long, and I wanted to get out, and I put the old boat in the water, and it was on the Missouri River. And I start up when we go across the bridge, you can see the boat ramp down by there, and I could see a guy sitting there with a Sea-Doo trailer, and you could see a woman and a kid or somebody up the river up there. And I told Cindy, I said, I hope the hell he gets out of the way before I get up there to launch my boat. And we get over there, and he's still parked right in the middle of the ramp. It's one boat ramp. And I walked down there, and he said, sir, is it possible that you go get my wife and daughter? They're stuck up there on the sandbar, I think, or the Sea-Doo's broke down. We just bought it, and they're up there, and you could just see them. They was like little bobbers in the water. It was a mile or so up there. Had never had a Sea-Doo before, knew nothing about the Missouri River, knew nothing about that Sea-Doo, and they'd been out there for a while. Because when I finally got to them, they was burnt to a crisp. They was as red as Betty's shirt. So I unload my boat, I take off, and I go up there, and I toss them a rope and pull them. I told her, I said, you tie it to whatever you think's strong, because when I start going, I'm taking you out of there. If it blows something up or pulls something apart, that's on you. So she tied around the handlebars, and I pulled them off of that thing and got her out in the water, unloaded their child onto the boat, and she had to stay on it and pulled them slowly down the river to the ramp where it was at. And he got in there, and I don't remember whether they got it running or not. It doesn't matter. They loaded up and left. But them two girls was fried. I mean, they'd been out there long enough. They was burnt to a crisp. If I was betting money,
Jesus,
they probably got rid of that. It would be wise to do that. Of course, I see no use to have one or for anybody else to have one. I know they're fun, but they're a pain in the ass for boaters, and they're dangerous for people to go in like they are. If you don't, it's just like a motorcycle. If you don't know how to ride that thing, you need to go to a class and be trained on how to do it. It's pretty simple. And I think they ought to have built-in GPS or depth finders on it, so they know how deep that water is, because they just run it right up on a sandbar. If they'd have been going much faster, I couldn't have got to them.
Well, the thing about it is you don't take for your first time out on anything
Missouri
in the Missouri River. No. And unless you guys have actually been on the Missouri River, it's a total different world that's been through there.
It is.
It really and truly is. The current is so much faster than most of your rivers. It fights you in a heartbeat.
Well, I promise you, I've been on the Ohio River when they claimed it was flooded, and it's about 1/10 of the speed the Missouri River is at normal speed. Yep. Not when it's flooded. When it's flooded, it's really ripping. And
wow,
the Ohio River, as far as I'm concerned, it's a lake. I've only been on it one time when I could bump. One time. All the trips we've been to on the Ohio River, and there's been a shit ton of them, I was able to bump one time. There's never enough current on it and that's why I don't like going there, because it has no current most of the time, or at least most of the time when I'm there. So we end up dragging.
Let's say summertime it's pretty low.
It's all, and that's when I go. I'm never there in the wintertime. But now we've been down there in January chasing skipjacks. Well, that was not actually the Ohio River. That was Cumberland City. But and there was current there. But I know they do have current, just not when I'm there. But I just
right.
The Mississippi River below St. Louis it's wide. It's wide open. The Missouri River's like that all the time. It has. It's not out of range to see 8, 9, 10, 11 mile an hour current on that Missouri River. And people say, "Oh, you're full of crapola." Well,
that's
jump on with me and let me show you how this works, because I lived it. I've been on them for years and years and years, and if there's just nothing like those two rivers. There's just not in the United States.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm gonna have to back out of here. I gotta call the girls, tell them good night.
Thank you, Jim.
Happy birthday, Jim.
Thanks, sir.
Happy birthday, Jim.
Thank you. All right, guys.
Well, I'm going to give Jim a chance to get out and get back into chat, so maybe he can win something real quick. So a couple weeks ago, we got a question about doing a giveaway. If I can get my computer to allow it into the stream here. There we go. Mr. Ace Catfishing has himself a fancy pole. Where's your back screen up there, Ace?
I had to take it down so I could show the pole.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, is the pole green?
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about that pole again, and I will ask to not turn the bait thing on because it'll hurt my ears.
All right.
So tell us about it, brother.
It's a pull tap smart rod, and I signed it.
A pull tap smart rod.
Yeah, the handle's all done in green paracord.
Nice.
It does have where you turn it on, and it'll go high, medium, low. Once it's on, you get a tap on the end of the rod, it'll start beeping and flashing red. But for you, I won't turn it on and show that.
Awesome. It scared the hell out of me last time you did it.
And then the upper half of the rod is all done in reflective tape. So it shines off really good at night.
Awesome. Now, is that a bait casting rod or a spinning rod?
It's a catfish spinning rod. But this was the reflective tape I used. And then over top of the reflective tape and the name, it's all painted with the Gorilla Super Glue.
I remember you telling me that to keep it down, yeah.
And then
just so everybody, I apologize.
Very flexible.
I will apologize to Ace and everybody here. I sent Ace a message right before the show telling him that we would do it at 8:30, and then I didn't send him the link. So I was wondering why he never came in. And I just happened to look down at my phone. He's like, I need a link to come in.
That in drag
host of the
really done it to you.
I said host of the year right here. So I have the winning number written down on the side of this facing me. So Ace, you agreed that we do like a pick between one and so we got 62 people in here. You think maybe what 1 and 150? Closest without going over?
Yeah.
Well, sounds good to you.
Sounds excellent to me. Only pick one number.
All right.
We'll have,
do you have the chat where you can see it too?
Yeah, we'll have James say go or whatever, or type in go and end. And
all right.
I don't think Dockery can spell.
That sounds good to me.
Just smile.
I'm going to sit this out so somebody else can win.
Oh, yeah, Lucky Betty Jean right there. She wins freaking everything. All right, so we will say go. and we will
Already
let
said
everybody
go.
pick. So one. Oh, did you? I don't see anything.
Oh, man, you were just
That's my
get
computer.
together. Get
That
together.
wig, I'm telling you.
I don't know where I'm at half the time day.
I think it's more than half the time.
We'll let that go for a few minutes.
While you're letting that go,
Oh,
Chad, I'll tell you, there's something else that happened over the times that was kind of scary. I sent Katie Dockery the song "Short People" one time, and that was a little scary. But when it really got scary is when I was telling Betty Jean about it and sent it to her and made her mad. And I got both of them mad at me. That was
Like two little
You didn't
small
make me
elves and
mad.
hobbits just going at each other. It was-
Then they come up with this deal on
I
her
wasn't
thing today.
Well,
I wouldn't touch it. I wouldn't
Stop
touch it.
stalling.
I was afraid I'd upset her again.
Lyle, you got you got to be careful doing that, Lyle, because you're gonna get all the elves, man. They're gonna strike right before Christmas, and you're not gonna have any help.
Krampus canes. I'm telling you, Lyle. Krampus canes. We're going to lobby for these fishing poles, guys.
Oh man!
All right. So everybody should have already picked a number. So we're going to say stop.
All right, so stop. The winning number, and it's the closest without going over. The winning number. Let me see if I can get this to show. You know how fun I am. 81. Do I got it? Yeah, 81. So will somebody help us figure out who the winner is here? You're a winner in my book, baby girl.
You talking to me?
Oh, Catman had 78. Not you.
He
No, I
was
call you
wearing that wig, so he
Baby-
might have been
Baby
called
Boo.
Baby Girl.
What did I see? Catman Clark had 78. No way. Did he win? Or anybody
Did he
else see
win?
anything closer?
It's his birthday. Did he win?
I'm not sure. My freaking thing here is really giving me fit.
Brandon
I'm
said he
looking
thinks
for
he
it.
won. He's looking at chat. 81. You can't go over. There's no 79, 80, or 81.
No, then Jim
Well,
Catman Clark
What a hit.
corner.
Happy
Whew.
birthday, Jim.
Hey, that worked out.
No
Oh, Jim,
way.
we got you a rod for Christmas.
Happy. There you go.
Happy
Happy
birthday,
birthday.
Jim.
Happy birthday there, Catman Clark.
That's exciting.
Congratulations.
What's the
Good.
easiest way to get a hold of you on Facebook there, Ace?
Yeah. I'll poke my link for
Okay.
Facebook in here. And
Congratulations,
All right.
man.
That's awesome.
That is awesome.
An autograph Ace catfishing super loud noisy rod. Nothing? Come on, Ace. You always got something to say to me.
it ain't
Jeez.
that noisy. Just, I'm
It
on
scared the
Facebook as
shibboleths out of me.
I'm on Facebook as Bar Height Greg.
Well, if
Like I was saying
Jim,
before,
if
the
you
little
if
power button.
so that's a bait, like a bait alert or something, right? Like it's taking a
Yeah,
line.
bite alert.
Wow.
You get a bite on the end of it, and she starts beeping and flashing.
Well, at Jim's new age, he's liable to be falling asleep while he's fishing, so that'll wake him up. He knows it's time to set the hook.
I was just thinking that.
Actually, Chad, does you
It's
have
time.
your,
It's time for
That's the.
does Jim
that's
have
the,
you on
time for Lyle's
Facebook?
payback.
That's the let's take a nap rod.
There
Yeah,
you go.
I'll get you guys together after this, okay?
Like, if
Or I'll
he's
get
got
his
you,
information or something.
you can
Somehow
get his
you can,
information and send it to me.
I will. Yeah, Jim, if you want, send me your email or something, and I'll give it to him. So we have Miss Betty Jean Cross here as well.
Hi. I don't have.
So
a
Betty,
scary
you got
story.
you got a scary story?
I don't
Why?
have a
What do you
scary-
mean? You've been. I know you've been out with Roger.
Yeah, I have. Yeah.
Hey
Not when
guys, I'm going
you
to back
know,
out of here so you get somebody else in. Thanks for the invite.
I
All
love
right,
Everybody
Mr.
have a great evening.
Mr. Stokes, thank you, sir.
You too, Dockery.
Yeah, I actually nothing horrible I guess has happened when I've been out with Roger that I can think of.
Yeah.
So I mean, like, there's two things that I can think of, and they're I don't know, they're stupid. They're not scary. Yeah. Does that count?
What is it?
Can you hear me?
What are you classifying? Yeah, I can hear you. What are you classifying them at besides scary?
Stupid.
Oh, okay. I'll take stupid.
Okay. Well, both of them were in Alabama. One was the day that the current really started ripping, which, I mean, we're not used to current or anything like that. So we went up to the dam to skipjack fish, and it was kind of crazy. And, you know, I got a deep V boat, so it's not that scary with water coming over, but it came over the bow and it scared me to death. I was like, yep, time to go. But there was that. And then I had a stupid moment. We were out there. It was like, not the last day, but the day before the last day. We hadn't slept. I was so tired. We wanted to skipjack fish, and we went up. We're loading up the boat to go up to the bank, back the trailer up, and the ramp is super steep here, so it was difficult anyways to get the boat on the trailer. And so we finally got it enough that we could pull it up, and this guy starts talking to us. So I'm sitting there in the truck, Brandon's in the boat, and this guy starts talking to us, and he like gives us some of his dragon weights or whatever, and we're having this conversation and blah blah blah. It went on for 5 minutes or so, and all of a sudden Brandon says go, and I'm like, okay. I'm in reverse. Yeah. Yep. And the latch wasn't locked, so the strap and the boat go whoop way out in the water, and I'm like, oh my god, I felt like a complete idiot. But yeah,
like, have I ever done that before? It's like, have I ever done this before?
right, exactly. And the scary thing is I mean, people lose trucks that way. That is scary. But I got it stopped, and that guy helped pull that guy that was talking to us, he helped pull the boat back up on the trailer, and I got up out there and finally. But yeah, so that was kind of scary, but it was just really stupid is what it was. It was dumb. I didn't even pay attention. I just, you know, you got this process when you do it, and then somebody starts talking to you and you get sidetracked. Go, okay, whoop, wrong way. But yeah.
It happens.
Yeah.
I mean, I've ran off the freaking trailer sideways and everything else before.
Yeah. So I'm sure there'll be many more scary adventures. Hopefully not too scary. Yeah. And then there was
hopefully there's safe adventures though.
Right. So, and then there was one time Mom and I crappie fished at this lake, and you have to we bank fish it, and you walk through the woods, and you have to tie a rope to a tree and climb down to a rock wall, and you climb down these big huge rocks everywhere. And it rained real bad. It started raining real bad while we were there, and we couldn't get back up we used the rope to climb up the hill, and it was so wet and slick we couldn't get back up. That was scary. I thought I was just stuck there, but we ended up like digging all these little holes in the ground to have steps to get up to the top. Yeah, that's a rough place, but there's good crappie there. So, but yeah, I can't think of anything super scary. Like, I mean, the trailer thing was the scary thing. Yeah.
Roger must have been taking it easy on you guys.
Oh, probably.
Because he seems to have a story with just about everybody else he's taken out about trying to either kill them or, you know, scaring the bejesus out of them.
Yeah.
I mean, that day we went out and that barge swung that ass end over about 15 feet from us, 10, 15 feet, and then shut the motor off right at the last second, scared the crap out of me. We were trying to get the reels in. He was trying to get the anchor rope and everything moved, and I was just like, and then
And
that guy comes out yelling at us. Like,
and I get,
But yeah, guys, I think I'm going to actually kick out of here so somebody else can come in. But all of you in chat, if you could do me a big favor, change your vote from Chad to James, because we all know James is the better fisherman.
I'm staying with the chicken.
That with James.
how do I kick your ass out of here?
I'm voting for the chicken.
I did too.
I did too.
That's what you get. That's what you get, Ace Catfishing. You got kicked out of the show for James Dockery voting.
Vote for
This
the
is a
chicken and you don't
fraudulent
get kicked out.
act.
Yeah.
I can take losing to the chicken, but I will not take this on the show of all this James Dockery love that you
Don't make
given.
me go get the chicken. Don't make me go get the chicken. I'll do it.
Seriously, Ace, I know you're sitting right there behind. You're right here in the backstage, but thank you for coming in and making that donation to the people that are watching. We do appreciate you doing that, man. I'm sure Catman Clark will get a lot of use out of that, and I'm sure he loves winning it on his birthday.
That's awesome.
But
that is,
man,
no, I just I know Dockery sent me a message about this show a few days ago, and then I got your link today. And I was actually talking to Brandon about it today. The only thing I could think of really was the trailer for A Scary Story. But I just wanted to pop on because I've been kind of MIA here lately. Busy. A lot of shit going on. So, you know how it goes.
It's that time of the year. I mean, even for me as well. And Justin Fish and Fetish, yes, I do live in Kentucky.
Right side of the river.
This is the busiest time of the year for me at work, for us at work. The logistics industry, transportation, importing and exporting. I mean, now to Christmas, it is why I have no hair. You pull it out, every bit you got.
That's
so trying
because I am in the middle of a pandemic in my career, and I still have hair.
I can't even figure.
Here we go.
There we go.
See what you done, Betty? You done made him put the dog back on.
Oh my god. This is terrible. Oh, I'm blinded. Yeah. Oh.
Where'd you go?
Oh my god.
Evening, Mr. Cross, by the way. I hear him talking in the background.
Yeah, he's over there in the recliner being lazy. We've had a busy day.
I'm back.
We haven't even had supper. It's still in the oven. Isn't that sad? It's after 9 o'clock.
I think ours got delivered about an hour ago.
Oh, really? Look.
But yeah, I mean,
TV, but look at it. That's too funny.
Oh, you just keep wearing that, brother.
Yeah.
No, please.
Hey,
don't.
Brandon.
Brandon, don't encourage him, please.
Oh, yeah.
Like I need encouragement.
He's gonna come on here next week and start singing Tina Turner songs and Justin Bieber, and it just.
Oh, not Bieber.
You know what? RESPECT. Find out what it means to me.
I warned you guys
started
all the
it.
time, and
You
no
all
one ever
started
listens
it.
to me.
Yeah.
Probably we try to mute you as much as we can. Oh man. But yeah,
But
ladies and gentlemen.
I just wanted to pop on because, like I said, I've been MIA. You ain't getting rid of me that easy.
Well, Brandon was catching some good crappies the other day.
He was.
Yeah.
He was doing good. It was definitely his day yesterday. I only caught one keeper, and I probably only caught 3 or 4 fish total. So.
Watch for fish tomorrow.
Yeah, we're going fishing tomorrow and the next day. I'm excited. So.
Well, you all have
probably tomorrow.
Bunches of luck.
Yeah.
Where you going? Where you guys going?
I'm going to 2 different lakes. I'll go to Deer Creek for crappie, and I'm actually going to go to Rocky, the lake that I hate, for catfish. But I'm starting to get that time of year where it's not so crazy because it's going to be cold Saturday here. Tomorrow morning's supposed to be 32, right?
39,
yeah.
45 tomorrow.
Yeah, so.
Then 32.
Yeah, it's supposed to be It's supposed to be a pretty cold weekend as far as lows and stuff.
Mhm.
So
Yeah, so we were going to go to Erie this weekend, and it's supposed to be super windy up there, and I'm just not going to fight
Yeah.
it. It's not
No.
safe, and I'm not doing it. So
There you go.
that would have been my scary story, as if I went to Erie this weekend.
hell yeah.
If I survived it. So yeah, they're saying like 15 to 25-mile-an-hour winds, and you can easily double that on the water. So
Oh, absolutely, around here especially.
Nope, too much for me.
The Ohio River Valley. I mean, we talked that last weekend during that tournament. The way the hills are on the Ohio River, when it gets down in there, it just it's like a freaking tunnel down there on that river. So it's craziness.
Yep.
You can't figure out which way it's coming from. And right now, the Ohio River is shooting up like 6 or 7 feet, I think, by Saturday. So I won't probably be out there this weekend. If anything, we'll be going somewhere else or just hanging out because the wife and I will be celebrating our 12-year anniversary on Sunday.
Exciting. Happy anniversary.
Happy anniversary, Miss D.
Yeah, that's
Lucky her. Lucky her. Thinking about taking her to Bass Pro Shop and letting her pick out whatever she wants.
I wanted to go to Bass Pro today, and you know that my husband said no.
Then what Walmart said.
Whoa. Somebody write this down. The first time in history Betty has ever been told no.
Yeah.
She's throwing a fit. She's throwing a temper tantrum on live TV right now.
No, I didn't throw a temper tantrum. So we had business to attend to today. So we went and did all that. And we ended up going to Walmart, and he bought a bunch of crap there. So
You did too.
groceries.
No.
Well, we're going to have our first official flight on air here pretty quick.
Yeah, so with that, all this time I thought it would be, from Katie coming across the screen on Dockery one night, but
what do you mean?
She's probably
Midstream?
going to launch that chicken
Midstream
one day, and it'll just go crazy on him.
Little attack chickens running everywhere.
Yeah, that's comical. So, but I'm gonna go get supper out of the oven and eat because I'm hungry. So,
will you do that?
I will.
We are going to call it a night. Thank you everybody for coming in and sharing some stories. Everybody that came in and watched. Everybody that voted for me and helped me beat Dockery, but I didn't beat his chicken. I don't understand this, but whatever. I do blame my wife. I do blame my wife for putting the chicken on the voting. I didn't even know that you could do that, and then the chicken ran off and left us all. So, but yeah, one of the things about tonight, though, seriously, is one of the things we can learn from watching even a show like this is we're sharing stories about it, but be safe out there, man. Think about what you're doing. No matter if you know the water or not, think safety first, because I don't want to lose any of you guys. I want to be able to tell some fun stories and not tell the stories about, what might have happened if we didn't have a knife in the front of our boat, didn't have our life jacket on, didn't do this, didn't do that, right? Keep you guys around.
Make sure your truck can drive when you pull up out of the rain.
Make sure it's in drive. Hey, I almost had that same thing happen, and it wasn't even my vehicle last week. I almost had it in reverse. I was scared to death because it wasn't my vehicle. That I was going to keep it in reverse and hit his foot slip off the brake, and I'm back in the water into the Ohio River. So
I felt like a complete idiot. That was so stupid. But
it happens.
It does to everybody.
We all do silly
Thank
stuff.
God
we get rushed, not paying
okay,
attention.
and
that's right.
Okay, and that's the main stuff. That's the main.
Oh, got another. Hold on, sorry, I had to cut you off. Got another vote. ACC Gaming. I vote for Chad. ACC. Yep, another vote, Chad.
That's hilarious.
I'm pretty sure I pulled away from Dockery. So,
good night.
With that, good night, everybody.
Night. We'll talk to you guys later.